Just take a deep breath. Yeah, just breathe. You know,
we know
take
you're
a
probably
moment.
sitting on the toilet while you're watching this because it's the only time that
that you get time by yourself. Oh my gosh.
It's so true.
I have memories of being in the bathroom because I wanted to be by myself, and there are fingers under the bathroom door. Mom, like I just need 1 minute. Yeah.
I remember when we were living in LA, I was going to school full time.
Yeah.
Working full time, and we had our second child who didn't want to sleep. So I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to a coffee shop, study before my 7 o'clock class, go to school until 1, come back, work until 5 or 6. From 6 to 8, we would have dinner and family time, and then I would take the first round from like 9 to midnight with Andrew, and then have time for homework before getting up and doing it again, and thinking, how do you breathe nonetheless?
Right.
So it's it's a real deal. How do we invest to grow our marriage when we are busy season of raising children? It's a great question.
Well, I would say do something.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty if what you can figure out for right now looks different than it did 5 years ago, because it's going to look different again in another 5 years. I think for a long time, I had this idea of like growing our marriage and growing as a woman of God looks a certain way, and mostly the picture was tied to what I was able to do when I was 18 years old, and had all the time in the world and no real bills.
And you remember how guilty we felt when people would tell us you need to have a date night?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we had littles in our house, no money, no time.
Right.
And we're thinking.
And when we did go on a date, we were so tired that we were like, I don't want to even do this. I'd rather go home and
we would go out to dinner, and we would get done with dinner, and we would think, oh no, it's 7 o'clock, and we're not paying for a babysitter and not taking advantage of them putting the kids to bed. And we would sit in the car sometimes.
Yeah,
and
just like,
because we're not going home until the kids are in bed. And that's the real deal. I totally agree with you, though, that one of the things that the scripture says is in Ephesians 5:15, be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise, making the most of every opportunity in these evil days.
Yeah.
And I think making the most of every opportunity should be really encouraging, because it means that God is going to meet you in that place of making the most of every opportunity, not in the space of where you didn't have an opportunity.
Right.
So if you have one opportunity and you give that to the Lord, like you make the most of that opportunity rather than doing what fools do, which is only thinking about this temporary moment and not investing in the future.
Right.
A wise person is sowing seeds, even if they know the harvest may come in the next season.
Right.
A fool is eating the seed and is going to starve to death in the next season.
Yeah.
So I think even if they're small seeds, you sow them. You do the work. We would have conversations late at night because we just knew we couldn't do date night.
Yeah.
But we could look each other in the eyes at 9:30 for a half hour on a Friday night and have a conversation. How are we doing? Yeah. So those are good. And I love one of the things that you said earlier is sometimes learning to pray and worship and connect with God is developed in those rough seasons where your connection times are in the middle of changing a diaper,
right,
of driving to school,
right,
but you turn on worship, you talk to God, you change a diaper, and you say, God, I am exhausted, but you know what I'm grateful for, and fill in the blank.
Well, and you think about like in marriage, having a Friday night date night is helpful. But if your whole relationship is an hour and a half on Friday night, that's not really a relationship, right? It's the whole. It's the during the week. It's the I'm going to grab your hand while, I pass by as I'm setting the table. It's the kiss on the cheek as you walk in. It's a continual. It's all these little things that happen throughout a day that draw us together, that, communicate, I love you, you love me. And it's the same in your relationship with the Lord. And I think sometimes we get like growing spiritually and having time for God. We put it in this little box of, okay, I have to, that fits before my kids wake up. In the morning, I need an hour of Devo time, and I have to read these 3 chapters and journal and pray, and that is how I grow. And I can't do that right now. So I guess I just can't grow with the Lord. And I would say those little moments, those moments throughout the day where you just have a conversation with him, where you talk to him about what's happening with your kids while you're driving in the car and they're all screaming and you're just saying, oh, Jesus, help me with this. It's the little moments that you steal with him, even if it's just reading a chapter in a devotional book or reading with your kids and talking to them about Jesus. That's not any less powerful than you on your face at 5 o'clock in the morning when you were 18 years old and you could do that. So take advantage of the all day long, because you're in a relationship with the Lord, not I relegate our relationship to a certain time and a certain box when we have our date time. It's all day long, communicating, connecting with God.
The views are great from the mountaintop, but the valleys are where the green things grow. So don't neglect that in those valleys where it's hard to cultivate marriage, it's harder to cultivate that relationship. In those valleys, there are things growing that will be a blessing to you and to a lot of other people if you don't give up and you keep making the most of the opportunities that you have.